Today we're talking about the things that take no talent.
Welcome back to our channel. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Janelle. We have bonded as millennial women, as moms, wives, as coaches, and as students of life, all while finding the humor in the chaos. This is us unpacking and externally processing the ever evolving and growing baggage of life. Join us in the conversation.
Have we mentioned that we've never actually met in real life? We are connected from afar.
So, welcome back, everyone. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, Janelle. I'm so excited for this topic. I know this just came to you and I want to hear all the things.
Okay, so I heard this. I was watching a reel, and it just sparked an idea. This lady was talking about, it was a speaker talking about the things that take no talent and how she focuses on that can relate to how she built her business, athletes. And the more she was talking about it, the more I'm like, man, this applies to so many different areas of our lives, even just how I mom, we run our schedule and things like that. I love this idea of taking out, or I guess focusing on the process versus focusing on what we think we're really good at, and how that can bring in these feelings of maybe imposter syndrome, or blows up our ego. And so if things are going well, then our ego's really big, and if things are going shitty, then oh my god, who am I, what am I doing, I shouldn't be doing this, I have no right to be in this space. So I just loved this little acronym of takes no talent, and just focusing on that. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about
Yeah,
this.
awesome. So, what would you say, give an example of something that takes no talent?
So, I mean, the example that she was giving, had related to athleticism. So, like the player
Hmm.
that shows up early for practice and leaves is the last to leave. Is early for the team bus. Runs off the field instead of walks off the field. His
Hmm.
dressing area in the dressing room is meticulous. He hangs up his uniform, that kind of thing. It's just the things that take no talent but separates them as a player. It just augments, his value to the team, um, and the whole organization,
Hmm.
and sets him up for success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it takes no talent to do those things, but those things actually amplify you and move you to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I
Amplify.
can
I love
relate.
that word.
Yeah, I can relate to the athlete piece of this. I'm curious to see what else comes up for me as we talk about this in other areas, but that's something that running off the field, running to get the ball. Still to this day, if I'm in my car and I forget something in the house, I run. It I'll literally catch myself and I'm like, Nicole, you don't have to run anymore. You don't have to, but it's just that's what you do. People are waiting for you. You don't just do. My daughter had her softball practice yesterday, her first softball practice of the season, and she ran to go get the ball. And I was like, great hustle, good job. And then later in the practice, I saw her walk to the ball, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to be recognizing that also. No, girl, we run to the ball.
Yeah.
But I never looked at it as it takes no talent, but it when you see that in sportsmanship or people on the field or athletes or whatever, it does separate them. It's okay, there's just so much around it. They're taking it seriously. They have a passion for this.
Mm.
They um want to be better, do good. Those are the things that I see in a small situation like that of running to get the ball versus walking to get the ball.
Yeah, and you know what, it's not an easy thing to teach. As parents, it's
Hmm.
not something, it definitely is a learn by example, I think.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, if you're not, you have to walk the walk in this one because it's not something that you can really verbalize or that they can see the impact of. Um, if you're just telling them. If you're not doing that, your kids aren't going to replicate that. And I
Yeah.
mean, some of it, I think that work ethic, I think sometimes comes naturally, but I don't think, and I wouldn't call that a talent. I just think that's like personality, might be like a natural personality trait, but
Hmm.
that is learned. Most of the time, that is learned from example, and that
Hmm.
starts at home. Like you said, like when you're holding someone up, you hustle like to get whatever you forget or that kind of thing. But um, yeah, so it's not easy to teach. Like we have good intentions. We want our kids um, to do that. I guess I don't know. It's such a I want to talk about this one some more. I want to like
Okay.
unpack this.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there is more unpacking to do.
Hmm.
So, let's see. What other areas of your life? So maybe like what would be an example that you can see
Well, I mean, the
where,
obvious one is work, right?
okay.
And that is definitely something that I would do. Like, I would show up. To me, like, if you're not 15 minutes early for work, you're late. Like, you
Yeah.
should be. And I do try to teach my kids that, but I work from home, so it's really hard for them to see me do
Yeah.
that. Same thing with Murray leaves before they're even awake. Like, so it's hard for them to see that example. But that's a really obvious one, like going above and beyond and, asking your boss, how can I help you? Or what can I take
Hmm.
off your plate? Just these little things of going above and beyond. And it's not about talent. It's not that I necessarily am really good at those things. It's just noticing, it's the taking initiative and noticing when something needs to be done. And maybe
Hmm.
that is something like that definitely translates at home is but again, that's almost hard as a mom to teach that to kids because they just assume that that's my role, I think, because I am at
Yeah.
home. And so taking initiative looks like me just doing like housework and
Yeah.
cooking before they're hungry, like they just all these little things. So it's something that's easy to tell them, but it's not an easy thing to show them in a lot of ways, I guess, unless they're
Hmm.
following you like in your projects or in your hobbies, that kind of thing. But yeah, so what does me talking about this and unpacking this, what does that bring up for you?
So like just things that I don't ever think about.
Isn't
Like
that funny?
those are like showing up early for work. Have always done that. I typically try to be anywhere from 30 to 15 to 30 minutes early, because I have clients meeting me and I don't want them to be there before I'm there. And when they come in, I want them to already feel at ease and like settled, not like I'm scrambling to hurry and start their appointment at the appointment time so that I stay on track. Um, and that's always been like a thing. That's always, and like as my career has, it used to be like I was always there 30 minutes early. And now it's been like, okay, like I feel like 15 minutes for me at this stage of the game is good, unless I already know I have things I need to do, then I need to be there 30 minutes early.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think of like what the other things that come up for me that like take no talent is maybe this is so obvious, but just like being kind.
Oh my God, that just came to my mind as you were talking. I was like, ooh, kindness.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You
true.
know, yeah, just like just or even smiling at someone when they walk by and like recognizing that like how like our energy is beyond us and what is the word I'm looking for? I'm totally missing a word. But like, yeah, it's funny. I like to see people's reactions when I walk by, when I do smile at them and it's a stranger and they have no idea who I am or like anything like that. And to see like what they do, and it's like typically they want to smile back, even if it's like like a wait, did she just smile at me?
Yeah.
But that, yeah, like kindness, putting a positive, energy out there like that doesn't, I mean, I guess if you like got to the core of it, like I guess that could take some like a little bit of talent, mostly like energy, I think though, right? Like mostly just like recognizing that you have oh my god, my words. It's like right there. All right, you talk, and when the word comes to me, I'll tell you. But yeah, so what came?
Okay. Yeah, so okay, as you're talking about this, it's just, it's not necessarily that, if we look at it from a job perspective, it's not necessarily that we do it in order to get recognition. It's setting us up for success, but it affects our environment, it affects our relationships, it affects our um, just our habits, the fact that we are doing these things, they just become habit, and then all those habits support what you're trying to accomplish.
Hmm.
The thing that actually takes the talent, whatever, hard work, but that all those little things, it kind of alleviate some of the decision, fatigue, or takes
Hmm.
out all the questions of the mental energy of having to think about all the things that need to get done in order so that I can do this. But if I just focus on creating all these habits, creating this norm of how I show up, not just physically but also mentally. It just supports you in your endeavors, and
Yeah,
because you're focusing on these things, you're not focusing on the outcome, the what
yeah,
ifs. I mean, at some point, it is important to think about, contingencies and things like that, as you
sure.
plan. But on the daily, once you have your goal, once you've thought of those things, you've mapped it all out, the things that need to get done, you have your action plans. Now let's just focus on the process. Let's just focus on all the little things that need to get done in order for that big goal to happen.
Hmm.
I love this idea. It's not a new idea, but when just someone says it the right way, it just creates an understanding and alleviates this um, it just sits, right? Like it just
Yeah,
resonates, and you're like, it's almost like a mantra, like for me anyway, the TNT is just this mantra of, as someone who struggles with, you know, focusing more on the outcome and the things that come along with doing that. Uh,
yeah.
like this year is my big goal is focusing on the process. So just this, now I have this little mantra that goes with my, with my goal for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that aligns perfectly with your goal for the year. Like, if you can focus on the process of like how you're wanting to show up, because I don't know, when you were talking, something that came up for me is like I'm a feeler. I talk all the time about like how do I want to feel, right? So if I am focusing on those things that don't take any talent, that's me showing up like wanting to feel good as a mom. So that's me working on being present. That's me working on giving, my daughter, a hug, or snuggling with her on the couch because she's needing extra, like, and that doesn't take any talent, right? Um, and how that also translates into making me feel better. But these are all things that naturally I do to like feel good, that like I said, I literally am like, I've never looked at it like this is this doesn't take talent and it's just something you do. Like I just have never formed it this way. I've never thought about it at this capacity before. But I feel like when you're talking about with our kids too, like that the word that was coming up is like it's contagious, right? Like
Mm,
it's attracting. It's when we do those things, then they see it's okay to be like that. They see that oh hey, like you know, my mom was just super kind. She didn't have to be that way, but look what happened. So they kind of get to see as moms, like, or our kids or whatever, like they get to see it being played out. So yes, my girls get to watch me run into the house to go and get whatever we forgot.
yeah. Well, Well, I mean, even if we look at this even simpler than that, it's, oh shit, I lost my train of thought. But even like this example of being a good mom, it's easy to get wrapped up in this, we say we want to be a good mom, but it's by whose standards, right? Is
Right.
and I think we get sometimes caught up in like the perception of us as a good mom is how other people view us, and we hope that they see us as a good mom and that we get wrapped up in performing. And but
Mm-hmm.
if we focus on the things that don't take any talent in the process, like you said, it's like it's the little things of giving your kid a hug when they need it, cuddling on the couch when they need some one-on-one time, and just focusing on those things versus I want to be a good mom. I need to be a good mom. Is
Mm-hmm.
I'm just focusing on the things that I can do well that are important to me. And again, that just ties right back into an intentional life.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean to me? Like being a
Yeah.
good mom. What does that mean to me? What are those processes? Um, what are those small things that or actions or behaviors that I think make me a good mom, not by anyone else's standards, what I think is important, and to my children, because every kid is
Yeah.
different and have different needs as well, is when I focus on what they need and what I need to be make myself feel good as a mom,
Mm-hmm.
then it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And I think about like my parenting from the beginning until now, and it was like, yeah, be a good mom. What or I would say like even like be a good wife. Like all of the things were
Yeah.
tied together of like society, right? So, that turned into just so much more than like it was an out of more of an out of body experience of doing things that I thought I was supposed to be doing that showed I was a good wife or a good mom that has now transferred over into like no, like you said, like to me what is a good mom? To
Yeah.
me and what is a good mom for me because that looks different, right? Like I remember, at one point early on when my girls were little, it was like what I'm sure you've heard this before, but like the Pinterest moms, you would go to these like birthday parties and you're just like, okay, so I'm the worst. Like every decoration is to a T. There's a theme, there's a setup, there's a flow, there's and like for me, it would be like, the fuck, like that's so lame. Like that is so, but it's
But then you
like,
feel you have to do the same.
but and then I'm like, I'm not inviting you to my party. You're gonna think I'm like a complete idiot because oh, we got a bounce house in my front yard, or oh, we went bowling. Like, yeah, it's not anything like that. I grabbed some, macaroons from the store because that's what my kids want. Like just things where you're like, you feel like less than, but like it's if and I don't know, right? But like if those are things to them that are relatable, that feel good, that flow, and they're doing that for them, then that's great. Then
Yeah.
that's great. And I can do the things that don't take talent for me on my end, right? Like that I can just show up and it's like for me, again, I want to feel good. So what am I going to do that's going to create that feeling of feeling like a good mom or a good wife or whatever? I don't know if any of that makes sense, but
100%.
that
And
was
I
just
think we need
like
to dive
what
into
came
this.
up.
Like, as what you just brought up, I feel like we need to address. Because I wish I would have known this. It took me a while to figure this out as a mom. Um,
Yeah.
this idea of meeting someone else's standards, like, this mom did this. Oh shit, I have to meet that. Well, I have to meet it, but like, I gotta do, there's things that I also want to do. So I'm going to top it with the things that, like I'm doing my extra that I want to do on top of what I
Yeah.
think I should be doing. And so it's always this like one upping. And it came to a point where I'm just like, someone made a comment to me. Um, because we did a birthday party, and this was one I was just like, you know what? I We're gonna go to a park. I'm gonna bring cupcakes and some snacks, like some juice boxes, and we're just gonna play at the park.
Yeah.
And but then I had this spread. I had homemade cupcakes, and I had like a fruit platter. I had like made it into, it looks like a Captain America shield. Okay.
Mhm.
And the mom was like, "Oh, I could never do that." And I was like, "I hope you never do." Like, I wanted to do this. I hope you don't feel like you ever have to do what you see at someone else's, like, feel that you have to do what another mom is doing. Let's just keep it in the mom world. What another mom is doing because they enjoy doing it. Because you don't
Yeah.
know what went on behind closed doors. Maybe that's like her passion. Maybe that's just like
Mhm.
her, that is her way of, baking is her way of relaxing, or her creative form, or whatever that is.
Mhm.
And it may not be yours. Like, I have moms who have throw, a totally different type of party, but they have bought cupcakes because they could care less. They don't want to spend their time in that realm. And I like,
Yeah.
thank you. Please do that, because it's not about us showcasing our momhood and our, like, flexing our strengths. It's, what does a kid want for their
Yeah.
birthday? And if without feeling stressed, and without feeling, what's the word, not the opposite of entitled, like the this need to perform. It's not what I meant, but anyway, I hope you're not doing it for those reasons. I
Yeah.
hope that you are doing it that fits in your guys' schedule, that doesn't, it shouldn't stress you out. Your mom,
Yeah.
the way you act as a mom and the things that you put out for your kids should not stress you out. It should
Mhm.
fit within your family, within your schedule, within your values. Like, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
And don't worry about what anyone else thinks, because everyone's going to think something, like, you can't control that. They're going to think either this is great, oh shit, like, now I have to do this too, or they're going to think, well, this is ridiculous and over the top. Like, who cares? If you enjoy doing it,
Yeah.
then do it. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it. You don't ever feel like you have to do things if it doesn't
Yeah.
fit within your values and within your family structure.
I feel
Oh.
like I'm the mom putting mic drop, totally. I feel like I'm the mom that's giving other moms permission to do
Yes.
less.
Let's please do more of that. Honestly.
Like, and like that comes, I mean, maybe we're getting off subject here, but
No, I don't
it's
care. Let's
all
go
like,
down this road, man.
yeah. It's all like relative. Like, I think about that, like, even we've talked about like having a lived in home, right? Like, do you know how long it took me to have a lived in home? I mean, the angst every single day that just over fueled my entire being because everything needed to be put back in order and put back where it lived and da da da. And if I could turn this camera around right now to show you what I am currently looking at, y'all would be like, all right, she lives in a lived in home. And I remember we were having dinner, some pizza with friends, and think I think this was even the first time they were at our house. And so I just leave my home however I leave it. And we go and have pizza. And my husband invited them over. And thank God I had done enough work around this because I would have been like, no, they're not coming
Like,
over.
give me
But it
10
was
minutes.
almost, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was almost like it was it was almost one of those things where it was like all that practice had come into play of like, I want my house to be a lived in home. And they walked in and they got to see like what I'm looking at right now, right? Like, my kid's freaking, syrup that's been sitting out for 3 days or, because she doesn't want to put it away because I'm going to use it again in the morning or, like whatever. And it was just this like, if you don't like me after this, like, then you weren't my friend,
Yeah.
and like I always held that. So similar to like a party or similar to my home, like, right? I held these standards of like, you're only gonna like me if. You'll only like me if I throw that party that has all those decorations and all those cakes and all those things and all this stuff. You're only gonna like me if you come to my house and it actually looks like it's put in order and the cleaners just left an hour ago. And it's like, if you don't like me for like me, which is lower than that, because to me, I want to make sure, there are other priorities to me now. It used to be different, but now it's like, this is who I am. And if you're going to come in my home and then you're going to be like, whatever you want to feel or say, or, then like, that's on you. But like,
Yeah, I think to even build on that, like you said, if you only like me if I do XYZ. How about if
hmm
I only like me if I do XYZ?
yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like I think I think that's where a lot of people struggle is in this I feel I have to be this certain I have to put this certain image out, and if I don't, I am of no value,
Yeah.
and I am not likable, or I am not this, or I'm not that, or I'm not enough. You are
Yeah.
enough. Even if, like, let's just say, for example, your house is normally put together because you enjoy it that way.
Yeah.
Whatever. You love decorating. I don't, I'm also in a lived in house, so I don't know what that looks like. But for those who feel like that, and that is important to them, but just say, shit hit the fan the day before, whatever, and they feel like people now can't come to their home because it doesn't maintain their image. Your outside environment is not a reflection of your value, especially if it's
Yes.
not the norm.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, like it really didn't I think that's where I was able to get to that space of like, if you don't like me because of how the party I threw or the way my house looks, I was able, like, there was a finally, like a disconnect for me, and like, that's fine because I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I wasn't okay with it. So I didn't want them thinking poorly of me, or because to me, part of this outer reflection was part of my worth and my enoughness. And only until I realized, like, hey, that's generational shit, girl. That's not even yours. You have been carrying the weight and the load of everything needing to look perfect in order for you to be enough. That it was this release of like, I don't have to do that anymore, and slowly stepping away. So it was like training when they came over, it was like, how am I going to handle this? How am I going to feel with them walking into my house and it's totally lived in and, whatever, like, how are they going to feel about that? And it's like, guess what? They just invite us to their house. And you know what? We go because it's a better flow and it works. Like, it's just like cool. Like, we could still be friends. I joke about like them coming here at a time when things are organized. And I'm like, it'll never be. Um, which is not true, but yeah.
So if we look at this as you're talking about this, I'm like, you know what? This still does relate back to the whole TNT that takes no talent. And I think the process of personal development is focusing on we've never arrived.
Yeah.
Personal development and personal just taking care of self. Like self-care is a continual practice of things that you're not necessarily good at.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't come, it's not natural, or I shouldn't say it's not natural. It is natural. It doesn't come naturally. Our emotions play into that. We feel uncomfortable when we're growing. Usually there's a
hmm
pain point and we want to get through it, and it's messy and it's uncomfortable, and sometimes we feel super vulnerable, but it's the little practices of, stillness or whatever your habits are of personal development, whether it's reading, whether it's coaching, it's a mentor, or talking regularly with maybe a therapist or maybe a friend.
Yeah.
Just this practice of continual uh, processes of moving
hmm
forward, and all those support your version of wanting to be your best self, the best version of
Yeah.
yourself. It's all these little things that you do on the daily. See, look, we've like wrapped it all the way
It
around.
wrapped around. Yeah. It takes no talent at all to work on yourself. It takes awareness, right? It takes wanting to be living in your best self, your highest self, like, realm. But everyone has that. Everyone has the no talent. If that's something that you want, then you can have that.
Yeah,
So, yeah, this was fun.
yeah. And I mean, whether it's your personal development, your fitness, your want to be a better mom, better relationship, uh, it's the little things. It's all the little things that add up to that. And if you don't do those little things, if we don't focus on that, it's easy to get overwhelmed by this idea of wanting this certain vision, or goal, this vision of ourselves in those whatever department that I just listed.
Yeah.
It's easy to get overwhelmed by like, I want to be like that. And when you
Hmm.
feel, especially if you have a bad day, it's easy to get like to feel defeated when you're not quite there yet. But if we focus on all the little things, well, this is what I want to be, this is what I do want to do, this is what I want to achieve. These are the things that I need to do on the daily, and they're not always fun, and they're not always exciting. They can be really boring. Sometimes they're hard and uncomfortable. But doing those on the daily, and if we just focus on doing those things, inevitably we
Yeah.
get there. And then guess what? We raise the bar,
Yeah.
and then it's back to the processes, and we just build on what we've already built.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I knew I'd get there. I just had to unpack this, man. I was just excited about this.
No, I loved it. If I could say that, a takeaway for me with today's conversation was just like the unawareness that I had of all of these little non-talents that I had and when I think of that too, like I think of like it costs no money, right? Like it costs you nothing to do those things. Like, and if that's in alignment with who you are, your morals, your values, like keep doing that thing. Keep doing that thing of no talent to keep getting you there, because one day it clicks and it's like I'm in alignment with my morals and my values and I'm living them out. Oh, I can do anything. Like, look at this realm that I'm living in. I can do anything.
Yeah. And they all translate, right? Like it's just because
Yeah.
you're doing, oftentimes the little things that we're doing, the processes, don't just, they're not just for one area of our lives. Oftentimes they trickle. We might have a focus
Yeah.
of, this is what I'm working on right now. This is what, like, my priority at the moment. But all those little things that you're developing, they trickle into all the other areas of your life.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's your little takeaway to end with today?
Oh man, I don't. What we just talked about, the whole it's coming full circle.
All of it.
Well, just how it applies not just to, athletics, how we can apply this idea of the little things matter. Um, they matter, and if we just focus more on those, how it takes kind of the pressure off, and of just like, it's just seeing the vision,
Hmm.
how heavy that can feel sometimes when we feel like we're still 1,000 miles away from it.
Yeah.
But if we focus on the little things that we do on the daily, even when they
Mhm.
suck, it's like all these little things, how that's building my character, how that's building habits, how that's building, like today, this is my win. Just
Yeah.
doing these things is my win every
Hmm.
day. And I can win every day. But if I'm looking at, this is my big goal, this is my big vision, and I look at where I am right now, well, shit, like I'm fucking flailing. But if I
Yeah.
focus on, oh, right, this is my action plan, these are my processes every day. Check, 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 check. I like check marks, check, check, check. Woo, win. And that just
Yeah.
changes the energy of how you achieve those things too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's just a reminder. Like last night, I just started like a gratitude journal of just like writing down the action steps that I can see myself doing, right? Because it's like otherwise you do feel so far away from that goal of what the thing you're trying to achieve and you're trying to get to. It seems unreachable, but it's like, no, I actually just took a huge step. Like yesterday we launched our first podcast, right? Like we launched our first video. Like, hello, that's huge. We've been working on it, talking about it. We took the actionable steps to get there, and like let's celebrate that. And that's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So yeah.
I think our next
Okay.
topic needs to be starting before you're ready.
Okay.
Because I think we could do like, yeah, we could have a whole conversation about that.
Yeah, totally. And I was going to say, like, whatever other topics come up for any of you, like, drop them in the comments. Let us know. We would love to touch on it. As you can see, like, we love talking about motherhood, like, just like all of it, like, what being a wife, being a business owner, like, literally everything. Um, so yeah, today was fun. I'm glad you brought that topic up because it was something that I have never really like thought about before. And now I will, now if we ever revisit this conversation, I will be able to really pull out all of my talentless talents.
I think we could name a lot if we went down that road. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we talked about this that at the end of our show, we wanted to create a mystery or ask each other a mystery question where we come up with a question on the fly to
Okay.
wrap things up. So I have a question for you,
Okay.
or I thought I did. Hang on. I wanted to ask you what is, well, let's relate it to what we talked about today. Um, how do you bring awareness to the little things that you do every day? Do you understand my question? Do I need to rephrase that?
You can rephrase it. I think I get it, but go. I'll hear it again.
So in the day, so I don't know if you, how do you plan for your processes? How are you intentional about your processes?
That's a whole different thing. I have realized for me that like I am a day to day kind of person. I can have things that are like scheduled out because obviously some things need to be scheduled out for, you to focus on them. But I am really like a day to day person. So I look ahead at my day at night. I figure out like what it is that I need, like I don't know, it helps me also like manage my energy. So I can look at the day and realize like, okay, I got to do this before I can do this before, like, I don't know. I don't even know if this is answering your question, but my process is only being a day ahead of the day. I get too overwhelmed or, um, probably misguided or misleading my intentions with things that I do if I'm like, oh, on Friday, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I'll skip steps. And so, in order for me to stay present, to not skip steps, it's easiest for me to just really be like a day ahead of, and really the evening, at night, just like reflecting, looking at my day, where I'm going to need more energy, less, what I need to tackle, and then that's also a time for me. I use, and this is off subject, but at night too, I really like to use that time of looking at my next day, but also looking at my day that I just had, for reflections through the day of, oh, look at what I accomplished, or, oh, this came up for me. Okay, I didn't actually like how I handled that. I'm going to do it different next time. And so, yeah. Did this answer your question
Yeah,
at
it
all?
does. It's just this, I like how you frame that is you can still have things scheduled out, but how
Hmm.
you manage the day and kind of having an intention of where you know you're going to need extra energy, mental energy, physical energy, whatever it is, and how do I manage that? Being a step ahead of versus being, yes, being present the next day, but anticipating, you know, how you're going to manage those times and
Yeah.
or those scheduled events, and like, okay, how do I take care of myself in this? How do I
Yeah.
make sure that I show up the way I want to show up?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. And it's helped me not be so anxious. I think I said that already, maybe, but yeah, it just helps me stay present. Okay, I won't go on. Okay, so the question that I am going to ask you is what, okay, if we're talking about these, now what is it? Talentless talents, or did I make that up?
Takes no talent. Yeah, you just made it your own. Still TNT, but you made it your own. I love it.
I like
Talentless
talentless
talent.
talent. I love that. Okay. what is a talentless talent that you feel or that you can notice that you do with or for your husband?
Ooh, for my husband. This is something I've been working on a lot lately. I tend to get hyper focused in what I'm doing. Um, and the time that he comes home is usually the time where the kids have just gotten home. I'm getting them, you know, we're doing snacks and homework and getting ready for the activity that we're about to leave for. So it tends to be, I'm like in mom mode. Like,
Yeah.
these are the things we need to get done. Okay, this is how much time so it's a managing time.
Yeah.
So I sometimes can be distant or not, if to him it feels like I'm distant because I'm hyper focused on the task that I'm trying to complete. And so there
Yeah.
are times where he comes home and I've acknowledged him, but I haven't looked at him. And sometimes he could have shaved his beard off and I won't notice because
Yeah.
I won't look him in the eye.
Yeah.
So I'm trying very hard to stop whatever I'm doing and make sure I make eye contact. I do love hugs, and so even when I do give him hugs, like there's times where if I'm hyper focused, I can give him a hug and I still don't notice him. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to make eye contact and actually acknowledging him coming through the door. Um, and it's something so little. It doesn't take talent, but it does take focus for me, and it's a process, and it helps him feel seen and us feel connected. So
Yes.
just making sure that he is seen, and I mean, and that also, I mean, that is the process for us to be a more connected couple
Mm-hmm.
and be more present with him, not just revolving around each other in the night.
Totally.
um, yeah, so
I can
that is
relate.
something.
I can relate to that. I feel like we're always working on that one in our house because it'll be the same. You're just on to the next thing or focused, and then before you know it, you've been home or with each other for 2 hours, and you're like, have I even like kissed you? Like
Well, it's yeah,
I haven't even like given you a hug from the day, and like just being present. So I can totally like relate to that for sure.
yeah. I mean, it's easy. Like he'll come in and we've talked about logistics and this is happening and that's happening and
Hmm.
this just we can talk about our day, but it's like I haven't even actually seen you and
Yep.
acknowledged you. I'm like, let's just take a beat. Oh, there you are. Hello. How was your day?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. All right, guys, it has been a pleasure chatting with everyone today. And yeah, if you're liking what we're doing, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you can get all of the updates. And until next time, we'll see you then.
Thank you guys.
Bye.